When you think of 4-digit, what comes to mind? Would it be the long note connoisseur, the chord jack slop farmer, a rising tournament player, or maybe a player who fell victim to the Osumania dance? All of these interpretations are correct, yet somehow the skill level within this range is some of the most diverse yet polarizing I have ever seen. When we think of a player's rank, we always want to find out what was their top play. But in the 4-digit scene, most of their top plays consist of these 4 charts. I know that other maps exist, such as more chord jack or long note slop, but these are the 4 most prevalent ones across the 4-digit leaderboard. So with these 4 maps, there's not much to go off of. With Osu Standard, the rank selection and top plays are able to be used in determining how good a player really is. I would personally define the upper 4-digit from rank 1000 to 2500 and the mid-range as 2501 to 5000. And of course, our lower end for 4-digit to be 5001 to 9999. Now, why do I rank the lower end to be that huge? I believe that within this range, there just really isn't much diversity at all. It's mainly just the same stuff and people are just trying to get even better with their fundamentals. Of course, this is not a definite answer, but this is just an estimation of ranges. The Osumania rank section only highlights a handful of skills. For upper 4-digit, the only skill sets that are highlighted from our ranked section for top plays are just long notes and chord jack with double time, while on the lower end we find charts filled with halftime plays containing the same jump trill farm and some jump stream here and there. It is clear as day that jump stream and rice in general, besides chord jack, begins to decline in performance point value as we near 3-digit. This implies that the rank section disregards rice skill sets such as tech and speed. So then what about mid 4-digit? Well, it is the same charts except lower accuracies on upper 4-digit maps and maybe even high accuracies on lower 4-digit maps. With that, we can establish that top plays in general are a terrible assessment for determining the skill level of mid to upper 4-digit players. Performance points in Osumania have always been in a terrible state throughout its lifetime. Within PP, current problems that exist are incorrect star ratings and patterns. I might as well showcase the inaccurate star rating phenomenon. So here are 12 maps that contain 6 underrated and 6 overrated star ratings. So the first map here is the Empress Screamoff SC version. This is rated at 4.18 stars, and just by looking at it, yeah, I don't think that looks like 4.18 stars, man. Like, this is pretty hard two-hand trills with some other kind of wacky patterns for this star range. So the next one is Credence. This is ranked at 6.28 stars, and this is just speed overall. I personally have a 94.5% on this, and I do not think that this is 6.28 stars. I mean, how could an easier LN map that's like 6.54 stars be harder than this? I just can't see it. The next map is the Poetic Ada. This is I believe this is like Delta Plus low epsilon tech. I'm sorry for using the Dan terminology here, but that's just an observation. Also, shout out to Dominic Pear. This guy is the creator of the Poetic Ada, and he commented on that video that I made on it. And I'm just so thankful. But just look at that. This is some very difficult gameplay here. I only have a 95 choke on this. The next map is Crescent Moon Island. This is by Shoegazer, and this is tech. This is the 1.15 rate at 6.43 stars. And again, just look at it. This is a very tough map, but because it doesn't have that many bursts or jump trills, or I don't think it has any at all, it's not ranked very high. The next map is Dimension Wars by Kilotech. This is 6.7 stars. This is, I believe, 320 BPM jump stream, and this is underrated. This is very underrated. Also, the song choice is godly, so yeah, I recommend y'all, if you got the skills to play this chart, I recommend you to do so, because it's like absolute cinema. Alright, so the next map is Hardcore by Danny PX. This is Handstream Stamina. This is the 1.2 rate at 6.6 stars. The thing that makes this star rating so stupid is that because it doesn't have jump trills or all that LN stuff, it's rated this low. So our first overrated map is this map right here. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that name, but 7 stars, I don't see it. I kind of don't see it, man. I don't. The next one is Fenorza by Denny. This is the 6.54 star map that I was talking about earlier. This is overrated. You see how there's a lot of short LNs? Yeah, that stuff is a performance point generator from the get-go. The next map is Chaos Made. This is a pretty old one, but dude, just look at the star rating, 7.48. There's no way an LN map is inflated that crazy. For context, Image Material 1.3 in the Stepmania Impossible pack is ranked 7.51 stars. Now, when I say ranked, I'm just saying like, oh, it just has a star rating of. Okay, moving on. The next map is Phoenixy, and just look at it. This is not 8-star worthy shit, man. Like, you can just see how bad the LN meta and the LN inflation is. Next up is Galaxy Collapse. This is another overrated chart because it has a lot of burst and jump trills. And our last overrated map is Everything Black by Chappelle Roan. This is an overrated map and it has the worst song I've ever heard of. I mean, just take a listen.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
It is clear that lots of LN maps have inflated star ratings, while maps consisting of tech or speed are underrated. And yes, I do know that not all charts are ranked or loved incorrectly. So, this is going to bring me to the topic of a 3-digit. How does a 3-digit fit into a video about a 4-digit? You see, this 3-digit used to be me. So back in January of 2022, I hit 3-digit for the first time ever. I peaked at rank 938 in January 2nd of 2022. At the time, I had 9,167 performance points, which in today's standards lands me at a rank of 6,083 as of October 19th, 2025. I remember it was pretty hard at that time to maintain 3-digit, since 2022 was a very special year. There appeared to be a giant skill inflation where everyone was playing super difficult maps. But people just got better that year. The whole game, the whole push and the limit of Mania just went up. Ranks started to get harder to maintain. More 7-key was being incorporated. 4-key people were clearing Epsilon. More people were clearing the hardest maps. 2022, I didn't know why it was like that. I didn't know why people were getting so good. When I think of the 4-digit gap, I realize that there exists some kind of cutoff for players in which they gain more skill from unranked charts compared to ranked maps. I would guess that this would be around mid 4-digit, but that of course is pure conjecture, nothing else. You will reach a point, inevitably, where you will have to search the graveyard tab in order to find charts to further develop your skills. I find it interesting that most of the skill differentiation is actually near the top half of 4-digit, since the whole entire lower 4-digit range is just kind of the same all around, with some exceptions. And I believe that the cutoff here is rank 2500. This is just a wild guess. Anyone can play unranked maps. By that point, you're rarely playing ranked for actual improvement. You're either relying on some loved maps or graveyarded maps, which is the majority of what you're playing to get better. At the top portion of 4-digit brings me to the topic of over and under ranked players. Obviously, I'm not calling anyone terrible at the game. There's just so many different situations in which a player is over and under ranked. I even question why the hell am I not this rank, but at the end of the day, system's pretty crappy. That brings me to the player themselves. Just begin by considering what type of 4-digit they are. Is it by push, pure accuracy, casual, or tournament, or like a mixture of them? How long have they been playing? And injuries and breaks. Are they rusty? Have they de-rusted? And also, some issues like mind blocks. Mind blocks ruin your performance on a map because it's either because of habits or just faulty muscle memory. Now, with mind blocks, the issues can be pretty niche. Take me as an example. I struggle to do 3-note long jacks on my left middle finger, and my left hand has more stamina than my right. I am left-handed, but I'm not sure whether that changes anything. Also, I have like kind of a deformed shoulder, but it's like not noticeable though. But if you look at it a little longer, you'll be like, oh yeah, this guy definitely has a deformity. And hey, don't hesitate to comment below. Like, what are your niche problems in 4-key Mania? So the next niche issue with the mind blocks is that my fingers just freeze up sometimes during jump stream and hand stream. Regardless of density or type, I just forget how to trill. Like shit like that just happens. And back to my point about over and underranked players. Well, it's because look, people choose to not farm. Alright, at the end of the day, because this meta is just terrible right now. So yeah, that's kind of how it is at the moment. And of course, there are other reasons, and please point them out if you have any. Being specialized in certain skill sets is another major factor as well. In one case, you may be great at stamina maps, but can't play speed or streams. Your tech may be great, but your dense core jack skills may not be there. And that is what makes the 4-digit range so special. And from my own experience, I would ask, how many people around my rank, right, could they get a 94 on Image 1.3, or get an S rank on Future Dominators 1.4, or get a 95% on We Love Llama 1.45. How many people can do that around my range and rank? Now, that of course, that would just be determining skill by push. What rank fails to do is that it prioritizes long notes and core jacks to generate the most performance points, which restricts other types of gameplay, hence the gap creation and the diversification of upper 4-digit. If I were to be able to play, let's say Rachel's Ash statues on 1.1 ranked, wouldn't that be a much harder score than some disgusting LN map? What this kind of tells me is that skill is much better defined diving into unranked maps, since the map pool there has the most variety in Osumania, unlike Osu Standard, which has their own set of ranked maps and is actually managed pretty well. From what I've seen, I'm not sure. Confirm me if I'm wrong. We know that the end game of ranked maps is just geared towards LN mains, since there's not much Rice maps that are end game that are rated 8 to 9 stars in 4 key besides double time stuff. Of course, I know in the graveyarded section there exists some goofy maps, right? Like a Vibro map or Sandan Life at like 1.7 or some shit like that. Also, within the upper 4-digit range, a lot of 7 key players are invading, so that kind of makes the leaderboard rankings all off, and it makes it kind of awkward. We know that this leads to one thing and one thing only. We do not want to use rank as a comparison factor. In my opinion, the best thing to compare yourself to is just yourself, and yourself only, and just see if you were better than last time. I believe that is the best. Now, as for outliers, I would say that everyone has a different Osumania journey, even if you think yours is not unique at all. So here are 2 outliers I'm gonna talk about, okay? Please, do not compare yourself to them, alright? So the first one is Jakizu123. This guy got Delta in less than a year. The next one is Culturing. This guy went from Alpha to Epsilon in 6 months. So those are just 2 outliers. Other honorable mentions are the Phoenix Kitty. You should just go check out his channel. He's got some pretty insane scores. And that is the 4-digit gap. This is my first time ever doing this. I'm just trying to see what I can do, trying to change my life and not be sucked into a life of just being miserable, you know? I just don't want to do things that I hate, like college extracurriculars. I think of it as just not me, you know? So I just turned to this because it's the only way I can kind of just try connecting. I guess I'd like to thank someone, as you, Merlodian. Thank you. You've been here through everything, and you is just a real one. You a real G, you know that? So guys, his profile's right here. Go check his profile out, and also consider this the 40 subscriber special. See you guys in the next one.